Hi, I'm Karen Rice and welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome back if you've already subscribed. I'm going to be painting a semi-abstract cityscape scene, and it's the same picture that I did in the acrylic, and I thought I'd share with you and show you the techniques that you can do in watercolour. They're quite fun, they're quite exciting and a little bit risky as well, because all things could go wrong, let's put it that way, but it's the art therapy that I'm trying to get across and to get you experimenting and creating. I'm going to be using lots of fun techniques. I'm going to be spattering, I'm going to be spritzing with my little spritzer bottle, I'm going to be using pastels and tilting and using white paint, plastic card, palette knife, kitchen sink, you name it, I'm going to be using it. And I really hope you're going to enjoy these techniques, and maybe it'll inspire you to have a go at semi-abstract painting. So, shall we get started? This is the gorgeous reference photograph I'll be using, and a link for this can be found in the description below. And here are all my art materials. And again, a link for these can be found in the description below. I may not use all of them, but they're all there just in case. Here's my drawing, and the sketch outline is available on the Patreon membership. If you would like details about the membership, just click the link in the top right hand corner of this video. I've actually used a watercolour pencil to actually sketch this in. It's a pale sort of blue colour. What I'm doing now is I'm wetting everything, really, the whole painting except for the snow in the middle ground. And I'm just wetting the tram as well, and it's sort of dissolving the watercolour pencil, and it's just getting me started. I've just dabbed off with my kitchen towel there because I went over the snow. I want to keep that area dry. I'm actually putting on a little bit of burnt sienna with my plastic card, and this is obviously damp so it bleeds a little bit, but this is straight from the tube paint. If you don't have burnt sienna, you could use raw sienna. I'm giving it a little spritz now because it was a bit dry at the bottom there, so if you find it dries off, just give it a little spritz. I'm putting a little bit of this burnt sienna now in the windows of the building just to sort of give a little bit of warmth. This burnt sienna is from Jackson's Art Supplies, and it's almost a little bit like light red, which has got more of a terracotta colour. I really like it, especially when it's really watered down. So this again is straight from the tube, and I'm just sort of putting it on, sort of just smoothing it on, you know, like you would icing a cake or buttering a slice of toast, and just waiting for magic to happen, as I always like to imagine, but just keeping everything really nice and loose. So I'm applying some of the phthalo turquoise. If you don't have any of this, you could use turquoise or Prussian blue or even cerulean, whatever you have. Just have fun with it. And I'm putting it on some areas are quite puddly, and as you can see, other areas have dried very quickly, but that's actually quite a nice effect there, so I'm quite pleased with that. Just using my spritzer bottle now, just to sort of give everything a little spray. It was drying a little bit, but also to get the paint moving so I can give it a little tilt and sort of see what happens. Whoops, a little drip there, but just let it all run down, get some happy accidents going. As you saw there, I'm using some black and some ultramarine actually, just to describe, you know, more of the shapes of the buildings, the windows, the tram, the outlines, etc. I'm just putting a few marks actually now in the foreground using the plastic card. What I loved about this photograph, you've got all these shapes and marks, and I thought it was ideal for this sort of abstract technique. I'm using my palette knife now, putting black straight on this. This corner here is so dark, but actually I felt it was too dark, so I'm just diluting it a little bit with some water with my large brush, just to get it going. Black is such a strong colour, so you have to be really careful with it. And so I've decided to spritz it all off. Well, not quite all, but just to kind of sort of soften things. Sometimes you can get a bit carried away, but there's always a solution. I'm using a little bit of Prussian blue now and painting this with the brush in the foreground. And I'm just going to give it another little spritz. It's very messy, this, and I don't know if you notice my fingers have got very blue. They do stain a little bit with the Prussian blues and the phthalo blues, but it's worth it for all this art therapy. So I'm just going to use my palette knife again, using some of the Prussian blue with a tiny touch of black, just to get some abstract marks in here, get things going, you know. Sometimes you just have to put down a mark and then follow it with another mark when you're working in this sort of style and technique. But I just sort of almost feel like that mark in the top right hand corner needs seeing to, but it could actually be quite nice because it's just sort of a shape, and then other things evolve and you can see sort of things that look more realistic and other things that look just completely abstract. Using the card again to scrape out some light in the foreground, and using my brush here with a little bit of watered down burnt sienna just to soften that sort of area where I didn't actually paint in at the beginning. I just wanted to kind of soften it. It was a little bit too disjointed, and I'm just softening the sky area now because it is quite dark in the sky. My sky was a bit too light, and just pulling out some of the lights in the snow from the tram. So, and now I'm painting in the people using my size 2 brush, and I'm just using black with a little bit of Prussian blue. It's quite a dark sort of colour here, quite a dark tonal value, but I just thought it's quite nice to get them sort of coming away from the light, standing out a little bit, waiting for the tram, or they may have just missed the tram. And you've got this person walking in front of the tram, which I'm a little bit worried about actually, but I'm just blocking them in and putting a little bit of shadow underfoot and putting a little bit of sort of darks in those tram lines as well, using my size 4 brush. I'm putting some marks now in with my plastic card just to kind of sort of create sort of an impression of windows and things like that you can see through the darkness. As you saw there, I was using my palette knife as well to put some of the white gouache on as well, just to give the painting a little bit of sparkle, but also to show some of the light on the buildings. And I'm using a toothbrush, an old toothbrush mind, and just spattering mainly in the centre and in the foreground to show almost like it's a blizzard there, and you can see the snow in the lights. And I'm putting the lights now on the tram as well, using my size 2 brush, and it sort of starts to bring everything to life a little bit. And I'm just sort of putting a little bit of detailing as well on the front of the tram here and there. I have another little spatter. I'm using my brush this time to make some bigger blobs. The toothbrush, it gives a finer sort of mist. Now here's an exciting thing. I haven't actually demonstrated this on YouTube before, but I've done this a lot with my students. I'm using some soft pastels and just putting some of the sort of coloured lights and that you can see in the photograph. So straight away in front of the tram here, I'm using an orangey colour, and it sort of just brings everything to life. You almost, if you half closed your eyes, you'd sort of see it like this. And I think that's how I sort of see semi-abstract, how I work in semi-abstract paintings. It's like I'm half closing my eyes, and that's what I loved about the photograph, that you could do something like this. So I'm using various colours, yellows, orange, there's a very, very pale green here to put some more lights in there, here and there. And I'm putting a few more, I'm actually using a white pastel, and I'm rubbing it with a little bit of my fingertips there just to have that glow around the light. And I'm using some of the lighter pastels again just to put a few more highlights and lights in the buildings here and there just to finish off. So here is the finished painting, and on the whole I'm quite pleased with it. I had a lot of fun, and I really hope it inspires you to have a go. If you'd like to watch longer tutorials with lots more voiceovers and lots more tips and techniques, I share a lot more colour mixing and just, you know, really talk to you about the techniques and guide you through the painting process. And you'll also have access to the downloadable sketch that I use in the painting. So why not think about joining the Patreon membership? You can cancel anytime. And if you have any questions about that, again, put them in the comments section below. And if you'd like to watch similar tutorials to this, why not subscribe to my YouTube channel? Hit that notification bell and you'll get updates of my latest videos. Thank you so much for watching. Happy painting. Bye for now.